You know what movie really sucked?
What?
Mortal Kombat. Annihilation, man! Not the original! Hey everybody, welcome to Party Chat. I'm Obey the Fist.
And I'm Patrox.
And the topic today is video game adaptations into movies and how much we love to hate them.
Correct. Now, were bad.
Right, they were bad. Things have changed recently. But today it's about the oldies, the baddies.
It's about what we find to be the worst of the worst.
Yeah, and some of these do that thing where they go so far down the terrible spectrum that they punch through the other side and enter the warp and come back in and wind up being amazing by virtue of how terrible they are.
Or they have one redeeming quality that saves them from everything. Like Mila Jovovich in Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I don't watch those movies for the plot.
Yeah, that's one that was like, I go there for certain things, but objectively speaking, these are not good films. The stories don't make sense. The characters are poorly portrayed because they're handled by people back in the day that had no connection to the source material whatsoever. These were executives who read the booklet that came with games back when they did that and then attempted to make a watchable form of entertainment off of it.
Back then, it was about the money. Now
They were
it's about
joyless
the
cash
passion.
grabs.
Now it's passion. Detective Pikachu. Passion project. The new Mortal Kombat trailer looks amazing. But that's a different conversation for a different time.
Yes.
Let me start with this question first.
Cool.
What's worse? A video game made into a bad movie, or a good movie made into a bad video game? Because I think it works both ways.
I won't dispute that. I feel like I get tricked a lot more often by the video game turning into a movie. Because after a certain point, I stopped expecting any film that got turned into a video game to have any merit.
Not since E.T.
Yeah. Because playing the plot of a movie sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Or worse, it's not just the plot of the movie. There's all kinds of other shit going on.
Yeah, if you're playing Iron Man, it's you gotta go save the baby carriage rolling down the street. It didn't happen in the movie. I don't want to do that. That's boring.
Should we play any of the Harry Potter games? Because some of those were real fun, but as a movie game, they were awful.
Yeah, there's too much content because a movie is on the high end, a 4-hour experience. And that's the extended director's cut. But video games have to have longevity because they're significantly more expensive. So you wind up having to inflate it with just garbage repeatable side quests it's an MMO, except it's not. You're just doing this by yourself. And
also, remember when they made that Harry Potter Quidditch game?
Dude, that
terrible.
Which is real sad
It
because
was a full-fledged video game based off a mini game based on the sport of a fictional universe.
Yeah, which is a real shame because a well-handled video game that was a bunch of people playing Quidditch would actually be super fun.
Yeah, it's wild because there are a couple good movie games, I would say, like Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Fantastic game.
Well, right, but that's not video games set in a world established by a movie are different things than the movie being turned into a video game. Because the movie being turned into a video game is
All right, I'll see your bet and I will raise you the Revenge of the Sith video game. Also great. And the Episode 1 game. for that matter.
Actually, well, Star Wars is kind of an ultimate there because like there was also Star Wars on from, Super Nintendo on up, and granted, those did not follow the plot of the movie at all.
No, but the Return of the Jedi game was.
Return of the Jedi was really good. Empire Strikes Back was really good. Super Star Wars was really good. And it's not. But then again, that's also not a tough sell. Like platformers back then were pretty cut and paste. Like Metroidvania games, there's a reason that the genre is called Metroidvania.
Yeah. I also, I feel like kids' movies translate into kids' games very well. As weird as that sounds.
Well, that's also fair to say.
Okay, but like, have you ever sat down and watched the Tomb Raider films?
Yeah, in theaters. Yeah, I paid money and took time out of my day, and I went to a third location to make that happen.
That's dedication. I rented them as a child, and I never understood what they had in common with Tomb Raider aside from the fact that it's Lara Croft.
Well, because they didn't have anything in common with the Tomb Raider games. What happened is a bunch of execs in charge of making money acquired the license, and they took the stupid little booklet that came with the game, because that's what happened back then, and they were like, okay, so we've got Lara Croft. She has a braid, she's got these 2 pistols, she wears a blue tank top, and she goes around in tombs. Who do we got for this? Anybody? Angelina Jolie. Perfect. Somebody get me a script. No, like now.
I feel like that's going to get a redemption soon because we do know Uncharted is coming out real soon with Tom Holland playing Nathan Drake, actually, a younger Nathan Drake. And again, that's that new era of like people that care. I think my favorites, though, are the movies that had a lot of liberal playroom and didn't really get it right, but still made a hilariously good movie. See Mortal Kombat, the first one.
That's
because that movie is a fucking national treasure.
Yeah, the original Mortal Kombat is like the pinnacle of what happens when things go wrong so perfectly that it becomes good. And a lot of that had to do with, again, like the source material for Mortal Kombat. Remember, this is a fighting game in arcades. There was no real exposition other than the little blurbs that would come up in between the fights. So they just sort of were like, yeah, the Overlord Shao Kahn, he lives in this place called Outland, and he brings people together and makes them fight. And there's a sorcerer who takes people's souls. Like, that's kind of scary. You don't want that to happen to you. So in the movie script, they just take the characters from Mortal Kombat, which, was a brilliant idea because they created a bunch of characters using the same guy in the ninja suit just by color swapping. Brilliant. All the money they saved.
Ed Boon is a genius.
Yeah, and then they were like, all right, it's a tournament. You guys you fight in a Mortal Kombat tournament. Like, to be fair, that's a movie that was exactly like the game. A bunch of people went and had a tournament, and then we just got to see what happened in between the fights. And then, Mortal Kombat Annihilation happened. They were like, oh, this did pretty well. And then they did another one, and everybody was like, no. You don't get to do that one twice.
That's what happens when you try to catch lightning in a bottle a second time.
That's the glass cannon. You get to fire that thing once, and then it shatters.
Hot take, I liked the Street Fighter movie, too.
But that's another thing that was, because it was so bad. Like, one of the lines from that movie is, you're pretty smart. Let's see how smart you are when you're not breathing. There's no way to deliver that line and have it be taken seriously because that is a dumb, nonsensical sentence.
Was that Jean-Claude Van Damme, too?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was M. Bison to Ryu. It's not... You took these costumes that worked really well in the bright, colorful, animated world of the game and then tried to bring it into real life. So M. Bison is wearing this giant scarlet fuck-off red evil commander outfit. And in real life, that looks really stupid. But another one in this vein of the movies that were so terrible that they kind of became good again is Mario Brothers. Because, and again, look at Mario Brothers and tell me they didn't, just look at the cover of the box and we're like, okay,
They took the box art for Super Mario World.
red guy, green guy, pink princess,
Dinosaur.
dinosaurs. Yeah, do something with that. I don't know. Like, and because like Dennis Hopper was Bowser. Like, and I'm pretty sure this is was he Bowser in the movie, or were they still calling him Koopa?
Koopa. Who's King Koopa?
Yeah, I think it was.
Who's
But
King
wasn't he
Koopa?
President Koopa?
Maybe. I don't remember. Holy shit. You know, the worst part of it is I think this tales to a bigger problem of just don't let American movie makers get a hold of not books.
I think don't let people
Dragon
do
Ball
projects-
Evolution.
Don't let people do projects unless they can, like, okay, obviously, you know, gatekeeping's not cool, but if you're trying to make a movie, like, watch the thing that you're making the movie about, at least.
Yo, again, Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah, well, you know, live action adaptations of cartoons are a whole different beast.
I think they're almost the same thing.
I mean, it's absolutely a similar vein, but like
A video game is just a controllable cartoon. Fight me.
I mean, that's fair, but like there's also agency in a video game, whereas there's no agency in a cartoon. Other than like you don't get to see the next scene until you figure out how this one goes.
But
I
until
guess.
recently, turning video games into cartoons has also been a terrible idea.
I just recently got to watch some of the Legend of Zelda cartoon.
Well,
And-
excuse me,
Dude,
princess.
I sat there for like an episode and a half, and I was like, "This isn't real. You're punking me. You're trying to get me to think somebody actually made this, so you could be like, haha, no, yeah, no, this was absolutely made like 2 weeks ago, as a parody. But no, it's the real thing that people were like, take Zelda, make it a cartoon, and like I don't even know what the end game was, because like there weren't toys that came out after that, like there usually are." In 80s cartoons.
I think
It's
they
not
thought
a
it was
commercial.
going to sell more games.
Like I guess, but like I don't. Why did they make Link a dick? What what about the game made them go, yeah, this guy's a jerk?
They probably wanted that edgy like appeal because they were trying to at that point like appeal to an older demographic. You know, they had that problem where Sega was the older like edgy, and Nintendo was seen as for kids. I think their a choice to make Link a dick was to appeal to that like anti-hero loving 90s teenager, 80s teenager, I guess, really.
It's like, oh, this dude's so cool. He doesn't care about anything.
Sonic.
Like, I guess, but dude, I was flabbergasted. To the credit of these people that were tasked with creating a Zelda cartoon, I don't think there was like a ton of like official lore about it. I think it was again.
It was like Zelda 2 tops.
It was the
Maybe
book.
A Link to the Past.
Because this cartoon was 1989.
So just Zelda 2.
Yeah. So.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, because Super Nintendo wasn't even out yet. So like all there
How?
was. Yeah, I know. But it's just the book that came with the game.
Stop it! I'm so old.
And then the 8. I don't want to hear it. And then the 8-bit media that existed on the actual Nintendo, and they were like, we have to create a story out of this. Okay, so let's see. There's a weird pig-looking wizard. I guess he's probably
Link's
got
an
little pig
asshole.
people. What am I gonna do with Link? Like he doesn't say anything. I don't know. Make him a jerk. Kids like jerks.
But I mean, I think it speaks to again a larger problem. Like, I think anytime Western media gets a hold of a really decent IP, sometimes they just blow it, or they'll milk it until its teats run with blood, like Marvel.
What?
Just the milking. I think there are about 12 too many Marvel movies at this point.
Well, I mean, that's okay. That's you're allowed to have that opinion.
Oh,
but
that's a total subjective opinion.
Yeah, but those movies are good. Like that's, I guess like, I don't know if maybe the Hulk that had Eric Bana in it was pretty weird. Like, they tried to do that thing where they shot it like it was a comic book. Like, they had the character speaking in a panel and then another character responding in a panel, which was like a neat idea, but just didn't translate well.
You want to talk about movies that are so bad they're good? I mean, Batman and Robin, the Power Rangers movie.
We're talking about Ivan Ooze, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like, that was... But admit that was just a really faithful transition from the TV show to a movie. Like, that's all that was.
Yo, when Kimberly tripped up that putty monster and
Have
was
a nice
like,
trip.
"Have a nice trip. See you next fall."
Yeah, that was just like the Power Rangers movie was really just a high budget 90-minute Power Rangers episode. It was also the first time we had ever heard Higher Ground, and we thought it was the hardest thing ever.
It was.
It was at the time. Skydiving to Red Hot Chili Peppers was just the most extreme thing anybody had ever encountered. Where I think things stopped being so bad they became good is when they like were trying really hard to make it relatable. Because like there's this air of like bumbling idiocy with the really early ones like Mario and Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and all that, where it's almost endearing how poorly it was executed.
Somebody tried.
Yeah, like they were just like, I don't really know what I'm doing. We're just kind of seeing what works. But then when you move into things like Resident Evil and Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within, and Doom, and anyone.
Oh God, I forgot the Doom movie existed.
Yeah, like admittedly, the scene where
Prince of Persia movie.
the Prince of Persia, exactly. We have these. They were like, all right, we need to take these super awesome action games and make super awesome action movies that everybody's really gonna like.
Was there a Need for Speed movie? Probably capitalizing around the same time Fast and Furious was big. There had to have been. And I imagine it had to be awful.
Yeah, like, dude, so many of them have slipped through the cracks at this point. You know what? Silent Hill was pretty good. I'll say that. I enjoyed Silent Hill, like as a shock value gore porn horror movie. I think it did. It did its job. But then on the other hand, you have things like Blood Rain, and like, dude, Blood Rain was so wild. So the only reason that we rented Blood Rain, right, is because we heard that there was the nude scene in the jail. So we got the tape from Blockbuster at like, I don't know, we were probably 13, something like that. And we just like fast forwarded to the scene and we were like, whoa, this is really weird. She like broke out of the jail cell and like woke the dude up while he was sleeping, went to bite his neck and he was like, no. And then instead she just like, you know, slammed him up against the bars of the cell and she was grabbing the door and it was clanging the whole time. Obviously really weird. And we were like, now we have to know how we got here. Now it's not even about the idle curiosity of young boys. No, there are important questions that need answered. So we started the movie over and watched the whole thing and it didn't matter. There was no reason for that scene to occur. It was not relevant to the plot. It didn't make, like, they were just like, okay, we'll throw her in the jail cell and have that weird scene and then she'll break out and leave. Sloppy narrative of what's going, of these films, I think is the worst offender.
Yeah.
Because at the same
I
time,
disagree.
yeah, because like I believe we've already mentioned this, but like Resident Evil is a fun watch because it's just guns and zombies, and we love guns and zombies.
Guns and drugs and drugs and guns.
Right. But once the effort, like trying too hard, absolutely destroys any chance it has of actually being
The Warcraft movie.
Dude, hot take, Warcraft movie was all right, man.
It was all right, but it
That-
should have been great.
Like the
Assassin's
crime,
Creed.
yeah, the crime. Dude, Assassin's Creed would have been fantastic if they just didn't show the last 15 minutes of the movie. That's all they had to do, and that would have been a masterpiece.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a bad idea in general anymore.
Well, like we've said, now that we've got people at the helm who care about the material, the person who's directing, you know, whatever the next big video game movie is going to be, actually played it to completion several times, when they were a child.
There's a lot of things on the horizon coming out in the near future that give me hope about video game adaptations. The last couple tries have really done it for me. Detective Pikachu being one of them.
Sonic did very
Sonic the
well.
Hedgehog did great. And that's another lesson that we'll talk about some other time about how the fans can actually make changes if we bitch hard enough.
We just
But,
have
you know,
to be loud enough.
If you're kind enough to hit that subscribe button and maybe that little bell, right after April, we will be seeing Mortal Kombat in a private cinema. And we will definitely be letting everybody know how that was.
Whether it's good or bad, either way, we're going to get loud.
Oh, yeah. But until then, I'm Patrox.
And I will obey the fist.
We'll see you around.